Okay, we're taking out two 10mm bolts that hold the airbox in. One's up in the front, right behind the headlight. The other one's back behind the battery, sort of. We gotta disconnect this stuff up front here. So we just gotta get a few things out of the way to get the intake pipe out. Pull the throttle wire out. We wanna get this hose out of the way. And be careful for this map sensor wire. Pop that out. I wanna be careful not to damage that. So we put it out of the way. And then, see, we gotta get this pipe out. Take the clamp off. Slide it out. Careful not to lose your clamp. Just gonna set it aside. And then, you gotta unscrew the big hose clamp at the throttle body. There we go. There's your engine mount right back there. There's a bracket that it bolts to, that bolts to the engine. So we're gonna have to get it out of there. Okay, we're removing the 17mm bolts that hold the bracket to the transmission. I use an impact gun with an extension and a joint here to take it out. You didn't spill much oil. Okay, I took out the oil filter so I could get the extension to reach the bolt at the top of where the bracket mounts to the transmission. So we're gonna take that bolt out next. Okay, so there's, before I disconnect the bracket here that mounts to the engine, or actually the transmission, I'm gonna get, there's a 14mm bolt that mounts the, well, connects the engine mount to the subframe. And I want to get that one out of there while I have room before I put the jack under the engine. So I need to get that done, and I'm just using a long handle 14mm wrench because it's in there pretty tight. So I need to get some decent leverage. There we go. You can use a ratchet. There's the bolt with the 14mm head. There's gonna be two more of these, but we're gonna get them from the top on the other side of the mount. Using our floor jack, figuring that this is a good spot, protecting the oil pan with a piece of wood. We don't want to dent it up, but we're getting ready to disconnect the rest of the bolts from the bracket, and yeah, we don't want the engine to fall on us. And we're gonna also be disconnecting some bolts from the other mounts so we can maneuver the engine a little. So be careful. Nice. Comes.
And there's 2 bolts that you got to remove on the top.
Yeah. Yep. There's one. Two. Getting loose. Okay, I'm using the U-joint 17mm socket and the air gun to get the bolt out that holds the bracket to the mount. Okay, we're trying to remove this exhaust support bracket because it's on top of the engine mount bracket. And there's these 2 12mm nuts right here holding it to the exhaust. A little rusty, not bad. There's the exhaust bracket. And now the engine mount bracket should be able to move around much more freely. Okay, now what we're doing is removing the intake manifold support bracket so that it's out of the way of the big transmission bracket here. And it just has 2 bolts. One goes up, way up underneath the intake manifold, and then the other one is right behind the axle, right next to the boot here. And then there's, on this particular car, there's one hose, a coolant hose, that's clipped into the bracket, so we just have to pop that out. It's pretty easy to do there. Alright, I can't feel that wrench. Alright, there we go. We got a 12mm head on it. And the other one, I need to use an long extension for the other one. Okay, just leave it hanging there. Oh, see? See how far the bracket can move now? Let's see if that's enough to take the mount out. So what we did is we took out the support bracket for the intake manifold, which allows more room to push the transmission bracket over toward the driver's side and twist it, and then you can pull your mount out without having to lift the engine or to disconnect all these other mounts, and you don't have to do any of that stuff. You're gonna say, then we can take out our mount once I disconnect the back hose. If that's ever gonna happen. I'm just gonna cut that stupid thing. I'm gonna get the pliers in there to try to take it off. It's long enough. Okay, so now I have the mount twisted around to where I can reach the vacuum hose. The hose is stuck on there and it's plenty long, so I'm just gonna actually cut it. And then we'll still have enough length on the hose to reconnect to the new mount. I'm just figuring out how to maneuver the mount out of here. Technician. I don't know what's wrong with this, but we're replacing it with this. What else? What am I supposed to say? Oh, okay. So in conclusion, basically, I don't know. It seemed like everywhere we looked, they were saying do crazy things like take out the intake manifold or dismount bunch of other engine mounts, but by removing that intake manifold bracket, that really was just a trick to rotating the transmission bracket and being able to take out the engine mount. And all we did was mess with that rear mounting setup and none of the other mounts. So seems to work good. It takes a little maneuvering, twisting and turning and all that, and it's kind of a tight fit because there's a heater hose here and some electrical wires and all that, but just be careful, and it works.